What's the deal? Some people go to this event or hire this coach or get this degree and it works out awesomely for them, right? They get tremendous value, they have breakthroughs, their life changes. And then there are other people who join the same program, hire the same coach, get the same degree, and it doesn't seem to, quote, work for them. All right, hang in there because I'm going to show you over the next few moments exactly how you can be the one who gets the results, gets 10 times the results that other people get, right? And I was thinking of this morning because I was a guest on a podcast and they said, well, how do how do people get their value out of this? And you don't get your value out of it. You create it, you commit. It's about so much about the way you show up. And I'm so grateful. I've had amazing coaches and teachers. I've spent $750,000 on my personal spiritual development education, and I've gotten 50 times that value, not simply because they were great coaches and teachers. Yes, I have always hired the best coaches and teachers I could, and I've shown up like I've paid 10 times that amount. So here are 6 points. One, before the thing, whether it's your coaching session, the seminar you're going to, even the webinar you're going to, prepare, like actually invest some time. And I'll speak directly to y'all right now who are coaching with me or just starting your coaching relationship with me, or for y'all that are coaching with someone else specifically. This is the game that I'm in every day, coaching and coachee, right? So specifically for you, prepare for the session. What does that mean? Block off your calendar, like literally half an hour before, so that when the session starts, you're not like, oh, I'm just finishing up this other thing. Remember, what did you talk about last? What did you do? What's changed? What would you love to create from this time you're about to invest? Right? Because you've invested the money, now you're investing your time. And what do you think? Evaluate yourself, self coaching. That's what we're always really headed for. What is a blockage for you? Where are you stuck? Write that stuff down. Think about it. Use Chat GPT to analyze it or whatever AI you're into, right? So, well, actually, that's two things combined, buffers and prepare. So you got prepare buffers, not just before the session, right? Because this is a mistake I've seen a lot of people make, and I've done it myself. It's so easy these days, especially with virtual life, to schedule ourselves 1 hour into the next, into the next, into the next. And it doesn't work very well. It took me ages to figure this out, to actually put buffers in, block some time off between the things so I can, one, slow down, take some breaths, two, create some space to, as we said, prepare. And then also after your session, that's really valuable time. Integrate, right? Take some time to integrate and to put some new things on your schedule or your to-do list, or to actually do some things right then, because insights are great. Action is where it's at. Now, let's talk about this important part. Notes. What do you do with notes? There's no right way, right? Some people, when they are in a session with a coach or a teacher or whatever it is, they take lots of notes, and you can get really good at taking notes. I like taking notes. It works well for me. Sometimes I'm in a session with somebody. I used to do this when I was in my mentorship with Tony Robbins. When I was in the events, I would just turn on my seat, right? Everybody else is watching the big screen up there. I would just watch him because I had this sense that I'm absorbing the energy, I'm emulating more than getting the information. I didn't take any notes during that whole phase. Whether you take notes during the session of the thing, either way, I highly encourage afterwards to write down. your impressions. What do I remember? What was important? What did I learn? What's changed now? By investing that time after the session while it's still fresh, you take a lot more of what happened and bring it into reality in your system. So, use notes one way or another. I love to make mind maps, and I make a title for that session. I just did this session with my coach and I had a big breakthrough around my confidence, right? And this is the confidence session. I'll name it that. And we spoke about this, right? And I'll make a little spring over here. Oh, and that reminds me of this. What's an exercise I can do that will shift my confidence? Well, when I do that, then more stuff comes up and I learn from that. All right. Fourth one, depends if you have a recording. These days, a lot of the times coaching has recording. I always ask my coaches, can I record this? Even if it's an in-person session, can I just record the audio with my phone? Some coaches don't allow it, most do. Most of the work I do with my clients is via Zoom, so I give them a recording. Whenever I can get a recording from my coach, I will, well, if it's video, I'll put into audio. I can listen to it while I'm walking or doing yoga or driving in the car, right? I might section out certain clips. This is where we talked about how I speak to myself. This is where we spoke about confidence as it shows up when I am with my daughter. I'm making stuff up here, right? And I will listen to it again. And what happens is I hear different things. And then I go and I upgrade my notes. And I think, okay, how can I put that into action? Which leads us to number 5, action, right? Because again, this is where the rubber meets the road. If we get insight, that's fun, but it doesn't really create change most of the time unless we act on it. So this is a big challenge I see for a lot of coaching clients is they make commitments, right? They invest maybe a bunch of money, they invest time for the sessions. And maybe it's an hour a week, 2 hours a week, an hour every 2 weeks, whatever the schedule is. And that's what they put on their schedule. They block that off. However, they haven't blocked off time for action, for review, the buffer time that I mentioned earlier, right? And that's part of where that buffer after the session is so useful because then say, okay, well, you know what? I've got this. Coach assigned me to do this, to read this, to watch this video. All right, well, right now I'm going to plug it into my calendar. So I'm going to do that on Friday at 4 p.m. I'm going to watch that thing. And Sunday at 10 a.m., I'm going to write this thing that I said I was going to write, right? Because then you put it into your calendar, it becomes real, right? So much of the value of this stuff is in the action and experimenting, and not to get it right, just to have the experience, because that's how we learn. Hey, is it working for me? All right. And then that kind of bleeds right into our last piece here is getting organized, being organized, committed, right? Because when we invest financially, invest some time, right? Isn't it worth it then? Because it's your life and it's not just what you're learning, it's like what you're creating across all aspects of your life, right? To create files and notes and calendar and to prioritize it. Because here's the thing, bottom line, y'all, the people that get tremendous value from coaching, seminars, courses, trainings, they're the ones that show up like they've paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for it, right? Even if it's a free thing, right? When I listen to a webinar or watch a webinar, I take notes. I make a mind map. I say, how can I apply this? What can I do with this? I get so much more value that way. All right. I hope that this has been useful, interesting, valuable for you, right? I encourage you to put some comments here. If you're, of course, if you're in a coaching program with me now, speak to me about this. What about this works for you? What doesn't? Do you have questions? What else can you do that upgrades on what I've been doing and what I've suggested here? If we're not working together, then put a comment or a question. What do you do that works? What could you do that would work even better? All right, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in. I love you. I love that you are interested in this stuff. I love that you are showing up